There we go. All right. So let's start with our initial pray. Let's close our eyes. And let's elevate our thoughts to the sublime world, to the spirit's world. Let's connect our hearts and our minds to this vibration. Let's embrace this moment with our spirits. In the next 45 minutes, we're going to be here together studying the Spirit's book. Let's be grateful for this opportunity among friends. Let's be thankful for all the good spirits that come to help us to understand, and to the other spirits that come to learn with us. Let's be grateful for the opportunity to be here, regardless any condition, health condition, life condition, we are here together. And always let's put our thoughts to the ones in need, to our brothers and sisters that is still in the dark, the ones that are seeking for answers, the ones that are suffering right now, or any kind of problems they have been through. Let's always pray for them. Let's ask God, Jesus, and all the good works to go and bring some peace, some relief to everyone in need right now. And let's ask for the permission to start our study today. And so be it. All right. Oh, Rob. Eating raspberries. There you go. That's Rob. How are you, Rob?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. All right. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Let's share my screen. There you go. Here we go. All right. So you guys tell me if you guys can see. You guys can see? Okay, great. Okay, so we stop, I think, on the question 51. There you go. Yes. We are in chapter 2. We were talking about a creation. I'm sorry, chapter 3. And the last question was the population of the earth, talk about it. Racing beings, Adam. And now we were starting talking about the diversity of the human race. So it's not that many questions, but on question, after question 58 actually, 59 are going to be a huge Kardec's explanation for this subject. So let's begin. All right, I'll start, okay? So diversity of human race, question 52. What causes the physical and moral difference in the diversity of the human race on Earth? The Spirit's answers. Climate, lifestyles, and habits. The same differences are produced in two children born to the same mother but raised apart from one another on different conditions. Bear no moral resemblance to each other. So basically, what we know already, of course, he's going more deep on this, but what causes physical and moral difference and diversity in the world, in Earth, you know, depends where we live, the culture, the lifestyle, habits, climate, you know, as Mark and Rob. They are Americans. Samantha, Eloy, and I, we are Brazilians. Physically look the same. Eyes, nose, mouth, ears, hair, the basic, but of course we have different backgrounds, cultures, lifestyle because of the place that we are born and raised. So basic that. If anybody want any comments, if no, you can start 53. Anybody want to say something?
Well, just so basically it's the environment, right? I mean, everything, including the, just the human lifestyle, how the environment you grew up, and the house that you grew up, or the city or the country.
Samantha, you have to talk a little bit loud or something.
Oh, actually, my microphone was all the way down.
There we go. Now I can hear you better.
So it's regarding the environment that you grew up. Can be your home, your city, your town, your country, the way that you were raised. So
True.
that's I think is the environment can be looked at as in a picture, can be a small picture, a bigger picture, but that's basically what it is.
What is it base? I think Mark want to say something, but you were in a mute.
Well, yeah, it was a question, and I'm sure there's an answer coming, but the question is, how much of those differences carries from one life to the next?
It really depends. Actually, it's not like right or wrong answer on this because in one of our studies in Portuguese last week, we were talking about that because we have a in Portuguese, the same study, the spirits books, but we were like half book away already. And Kardec's go more deep on this in the next chapters, but it's basically, we all have, I don't know if I say must, but it's, let's put it like this, it's important to have different experiences, you know, in the matter of reincarnations, like probably, no, I'm pretty sure, I didn't reincarnate as Brazilians since I was created, you know what I mean? And those differences, physicals, the spirit's still the same, but if my next incarnation, I born in Japan, I'm not gonna carry anything about physical insane, you know? Even like I born in Brazil, I'm not gonna take anything physically sane, but everything that the spirits learn through their life in earth or in a spiritual world, yes, goes with them.
So, you know, the thought that struck me was diet, because throughout the evolution of mankind, there have been all kinds of periods where eating was healthy and eating was extremely unhealthy. And so I started thinking about the physical changes that occurred through a lifetime, and then
through a lifetime,
perhaps carry forward into the next incarnation with the new set of trials or with some ease. Interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be on chapter 6 or 5, if I'm not wrong. I think 6.
I'll be patient.
Yeah, wait for there. There's gonna be deep on this, saying about all the, I think it's question 450 something, about the evolution of the human being. But yeah, we get there. It's gonna be interesting. You're gonna see it. Okay, so, okay, Mark, you were the next here on my screen. Can you read question 53?
53, was humankind born at various points around the planet? Yes, and at various times. This is one of the causes of diversity in the human race. The earliest people spread out across different climates and combined with other races, which formed new ethnic groups.
They have a question A as well in the same question, if you can just continue to read.
Do these differences constitute different species? Of course not. all of these different people are a single family. Do the differences between the varieties of the same fruit stop them from being the same species?
There you go. So, yeah, basically Kardec want to know, like, in the beginning, where's different species of human being or the same?
And just, I would add something. Just last week, science has postulated a sixth humankind definition. Besides Homo sapiens, which is what everybody identifies with, there are now 5 others. They just defined a 5th one. Now, the funny thing is, these other 5, they're not conclusions. They're possibilities.
Yeah,
because,
theory, right?
because of the time frames, because of the locations where they found these. There's distinctive differences type of thing, but they're all humans.
Yes, and as I said, when you get into chapter 5 or 6, you're going to see the answer for that, which is very interesting. Yeah, with like science are discovering right now, the spirits already came and set up something about it.
Of course.
Okay, Samantha, please.
54.
Yes, please.
If the human species cannot be traced back to a single ancestor, should humans stop regarding one another as brothers and sisters? Under God, all human beings are brothers and sisters, animated by a spirit and having the same goal. The human mind is inclined to interpret words literally. So of course, they want to try to manipulate and get different answers, right?
Of course.
That's pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't want to call yourselves brothers and sisters, it's up to you. But under God's eyes, yes, everybody are brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Point.
And the spirits are very clear when they answer that. Under God.
Yes, under God.
Yeah.
And as far as you understand here, God is the one that rule everything. So it's up to us, you know. So brothers and sisters, it is.
With the
but
same goal.
yeah, if you guys don't want to call you each other's like this, you have to learn.
Yeah.
All right, now you're going to start to talk about existence of multiple worlds. Sometimes when people like have no idea about what spiritism is or philosophy or, you know, or don't believe in anything, can you start studying this book and this is one of the subjects they are just really, which for most of us, I believe, in 2020, there's kind of like, okay, yes, probably that's true, you know. But some people like, no, I believe we are the only one in the entire everything that we know so far. So Eloa, can you read question 55, please?
Yes. Are all the planets that revolve in space inhabited? Yes, and the people on Earth are far from being the leaders in intelligence, goodness, and general development, despite what they may believe. There are many people who have such a high opinion of themselves and even believe that your little world alone has the privilege of being inhabited by intelligent beings. What an arrogant thought. They believe that God has created the universe only for them. Now the Spirit's explanation, right? God has populated planets with living beings, all of which have a role in a ultimate divine plan. Believing that living beings are confined to the one point of the universe inhabited by us casts doubt on God's wisdom. God has done nothing in vain and must have assigned a purpose to every other world that is more important than merely serving as a lovely backdrop for our planet. Furthermore, there is nothing in the position, size, or physical makeup of Earth that warrants the assumption that it alone, of the thousands of planets in space, has the privilege of being inhabited. Well, I think we commented about it before, saying that like we are silly thinking that we are just the only ones in this huge universe.
Yes. And the part that I like the most is, and the people on Earth are far, far away from being the leaders in intelligence, goodness, and general development. So yeah.
Somebody's dog wants to give an opinion too.
Right. Yeah.
No, I mean, I like this answer because, you know, the other day we're talking about this with the kids, and you know, they were asking, "Oh, what do you think? There's more." And my son, there's more people. You know, there's more planets, and there's species or people that live in there. And then my son told my daughter, she's like, "Let's go outside. Look up. Do you really think we're the only ones here? Look at all this." You know, so I thought it was cool the way he explained to her, like bring her outside and show her the whole, all the stars and everything. So
Right. This is so, it's so much more to explore that we even don't have tools yet. But another part that the spirits bring us to the light of the explanation is there is nothing in the position, size, or physical makeup of Earth that warrants the assumption that it alone. Who came up with this idea? You know, like, of course, if you study history and all the religion things to dominate people around, so you're going to understand a little bit. But this assumption is vague. You can't tell anything just because you don't know. It doesn't mean there's that this thing doesn't exist. So, and the more, you know, that's why NASA expend billions and billions of dollars every year to explore and goes on those science thing, because yes, it's something else there, but not the way probably we think. I was watching this lecture that this guy gave to us like a month ago. He's a doctor in Brazil, and he said the people that are looking for aliens, green, big heads, two fingers, those people work at Hollywood. The ones that looking for something else, those called scientists. So they don't looking for definitely for species like that. They know it's something else.
I would add to this, you know, the term science fiction means something that is probably never going to be seen in reality. Okay, but let's just assume something very different, that at some point in time, humanity decided to be completely open with the fact that we have been visited by others from other planets. And if through a century of incidences, we would not feel the same way towards the idea of an extraterrestrial visitor as we do today. If we had just accepted the reality that we are not the only intelligent being in the universe, that if there is another intelligent being that has the intelligence to travel through space and time to land on our planet, we don't hold a candle to them. And how foolish of us to think we can shoot them down or defend ourselves or be aggressive with them or whatever. Come on, get real. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah. And this is so true, Mark, because Thiago and I were just discussing about this. And we were talking about not just technology, but we were talking about moral. Because if they come here with all the technology, because if they have the chance to come here, means that they have more technology, because you're not able to go there as they can come over here. And what is going to be the first question that the scientists, the governments are going to ask, you know, what kind of technology you guys have in order to, you can use, not to evolve as human being, but to make other countries, other people, you know, to do whatever you want.
Area 51's right next door to you.
Right? It has so many theory around it. But I mean, even they know, and I'm pretty sure NASA knows, and they are just holding those things to be released or open when the times come, whatever. They don't know. They let's say, as I'm saying, as the experience and the what I'm saying right now is not about science, but I mean spirit science. What I'm saying, whatever the spirits already gave to us, it's at this point, you guys not ready. But I'm pretty sure science, as NASA, already discovered so many things that they didn't release yet, but they were working on it. And have species from other, you know, planets. This is very unlikely, but they know there is something there.
No question.
They know there is something there. But when the time comes, so, you know, for now, morally say, we are not prepared. So, but the time, one day at some point, we're going to be ready for this. And the spirits already, you know, brought to us those informations. And I'm not saying, or like, as I said, green, big heads, those kind of things. Furthermore, they're going to explain, well, they're going to say over here about the matter of the other planets. But furthermore, they're going to say they're physically, they look like as you guys, but more evolved. And has books, if you Google it, has some spirits books saying about it, like the solar system, about the planets here. The planets that are more evolved than Earth, and the ones that is less than Earth. And when I say they are inhabited with spirits, I'm saying incarnated spirits, because that's the difference. There's incarnated spirits and incarnated spirits. And all the planets in the solar system, they are inhabited with incarnated spirits. That's very interesting, but you get there. Where am I? 56? Right, yeah. So Rob, can you read 56, please?
Sure. 56. Do all planets have the same physical constitution? No, they do not resemble one another at all. Short and sweet.
Couldn't be shorter than that, right?
Nope.
Almost like, okay, next.
Yeah, that's like, for some people when they read this, it's like, really? Because we try to compare us to everything else, but yeah, no, the physical constitution, even science already proved this. No, they don't.
Yeah.
All
Any
right.
astrology on the room no. Give us a little bit more explanation on that. Yeah.
Okay, so 57 it is. I think come back to me. As the physical constitution of the various planets is not the same for all, do the beings inhabiting those worlds have a different type of body and physical makeup? They say, of course. Just as fish in your world are designed for living water and birds for the air. Right? But when they say physical body and makeup, one more time, further on you're going to understand it's not like green people. It's more evolved. But how it is, we don't know. But it's more evolved. They don't look like monsters as the movie Aliens show us. But it's more evolved. There's the explanation furthermore. So, okay, Mark, you have, oh no, that's not a big one. I did 57. So, okay, Mark, can you do 58, please?
Are the planets farthest removed from the sun deprived of light and heat, since the sun only appears to be a tiny star to them? Are you assuming that there are no other sources of light and heat than the sun? Are you completely dismissing electricity, which in some worlds plays a role unknown to you and which is more important than the role it plays on Earth? Besides, how do you know that the beings of those worlds see the same way you do, with organs like yours? The conditions of existence for the beings inhabiting different worlds must be adapted to the world in which they are destined to live. If we had never seen fish, we would not be able to comprehend how any living being could survive in water. This same idea applies to all the other worlds, which most likely contain elements that are unknown to us. On our own planet, the long polar nights are illuminated by the electrical displays of the aurora borealis, commonly called the northern lights. Is it impossible to imagine that electricity may be more abundant in other worlds compared to ours and play a role that we cannot even fathom? According to this argument, those worlds could contain different sources of heat and light required by their inhabitants.
So it's talking about the different kinds of energy, not just the sun, but all the other kinds of energy that are all the other sources of energy that are produced for any living being, right?
So one of the example that science is, I don't know back then, probably not in Kardec's time, but right now we know, one of the source of energy that you can use, it's trash. Trash can be a source of energy. You know, that some recycling trash into like special machines can be a source of energy. Water can be a source of energy. Air can be a source of energy. And the sun can be a source of energy. We have different sources of energies in the Earth. So that fits to us. Imagine other planets that have different matters constitutions and different needs, as they give an example of the fish, you know. So this first two chapters, it's more about curiosity that we all have, even like past 150 years already. We still having some curiosities and really know one, like some of the things. Even science already have evolved a lot, but still have to learn a lot of things. But it's basically this, you know, basically those simple questions that is we don't know the answers, but it's basically this part, the subject here is to assume that we're not the only one. Second, everything that we know, and we don't know everything in this earth, it's nothing compared to the whole universe. They have different sources of everything. And what you understand about matter fits to you on earth. It doesn't mean that other place out of earth is not matter as you understand about matter and chemical things and physical things and all those kind of things. That's very important to understand. And of course, we study, if we were here with like any scientists here, probably going to give explanations on it, as you said, as an astronomy here to help us. But basic things, you know, just really basic things. Because the first part on the first chapter, the spirits were pretty clear. It's important to learn, it's important to go out and seeking for answers for everything. But the most important thing is you guys don't started doing it. It's working on yourselves. try to understand you first. You're not even able yet to love your neighbors. How you can understand about the universe? So, and furthermore, you're going to see that in some spirits that come to us and say, you guys already evolved a lot on technology. You guys doing good on this nowadays. But moral, you guys are still pretty good behind. You guys need to evolve more this, because the more you evolve on moral, you're going to have more answers on technology as well. As the example of the ETs, they come here with the technology and okay, let's help each other, let's be better. No, what kind of technology do you guys have that you can use against others? There's going to be the first question, because our moral is not evolved yet. So yeah, we have a lot of to learn. Anybody else would like to comment something else? Good. So, are you going to skip you, Samantha and Eloa? Because I'm going to put Rob to read this.
Sure. But it looks like that's all isn't that all commentary? Where's the spirit answer?
No, everything that is highlighted is Kardec's commentary.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Where's the question?
Oh, there's no question actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just, I think they're continue 58, and then since he wants to do just a comment self, he put a 59.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird as well, but I went to the book, I was like, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So if you want to, I don't know, ever 2-3 paragraphs, you want to just pause and we can talk about something. So do whatever you think is better.
Yeah.
But it's all Kardec's explanation.
Okay. Biblical account of creation. Different populations of Earth have formed contrasting ideas about creation depending on their degree of scientific advancement. Reason supported by science recognizes the implausibility of some theories. The explanation given by the spirits confirms the theory that has long been recognized by the most enlightened people. Arguments against this theory are that they contradict sacred texts. However, when we examine these statements carefully, they show us that this contradiction is more superficial than genuine. It results from the interpretation that has been given to allegorical expressions. So, yeah, I mean, I think, certain things are presented in ancient texts about the creation of the world at a level that would make sense to the people that it was communicated to.
Yes.
So, allegories, allegorical kind of ways of explaining things will be more understandable,
Yes, it says like the contradictions is more superficial than genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Adam, widely regarded as the first man and sole ancestor of the human race, is not the only point that caused religious convictions around the world to change. At one time, the movement of the earth so blatantly contradicted the Bible that every type of criticism imaginable was fired against it. Despite this, the earth continued to move in its orbit, and people today couldn't possibly object to this fact without jeopardizing their own sanity and credibility. The Bible also states that the world was created in 6 days and establishes the date of creation at about 4,000 years before Christ. According to the Bible, Earth did not exist before that time and was created out of nothing at the time of creation. Yet science has undeniably proven otherwise. The history of Earth is irrefutably written in fossils, proving beyond the shadow of a doubt that the 6 days of creation are successive periods, each of which may have been millions of years. This is not a matter of opinion, but a fact that is as indisputably certain as the movement of the earth, and one that theology itself can no longer refuse to acknowledge. This admission provides yet another example of the errors we commit by attributing literal truth to figurative language. Should we conclude that the Bible is one giant error? No, but we must admit that people have definitely blundered in its interpretation.
Okay, just Rob, let me do a comment here.
Mhm.
So this part over here, I think this is like a really important, probably all you know already. But the Bible is right. The Bible is not wrong. But as they give an example here, when we study such old book, we have to have tools about language, history, what time those events happened, and especially the language that the Bible was wrote down, it doesn't exist anymore. So it's a really important, one of the language, I mean, Aramaic. So one is very important to understand this and not translate things literally. Has this guy's in Brazil, this guy, he studied history, Bible history, those kind of things. He's a Brazilian, he speaks Portuguese, but in order to understand literally what they were saying on the Bible, so he had to learn Hebraic. He had to learn Hebrew, actually, sorry, Hebrew. And to understand what are the mistakes people are making along the years, the time. So, and he said that in Brazil, at least, he already founded more than 20 type of Bibles. When he means 20 type, it means 20 type of translations, different translations. 20. So because one command, one verb, one word, they put differently there, makes a huge difference in the meaning. And the Kardec just gives the example of like the 6 days. That is a 6 huge periods that science already proved that, not 6 days. But there's one of the things that we have to question, we have to make questions on it. You have to go furthermore on the explanation, not just, okay, the Bible says that it is what it is. No, what did the Bible really says? That's really important to learn and understand when you want to study the Bible. That is like so many religions does. All right.
And just to add, is one of the comments up there, and another question was regarding this too, the literal interpretation that we seem to do of this, on this case of the Bible, right? About the 6 days. I know Luisa has a video about that, and I watched the video. It was really nice, the explanation about the million, sometimes billion of years that, you know, it could definitely, we're talking about one day, it's million or billions of years. It's about the, I think the video was saying it's the phases of the creation. So there was 6 phases and not 6 days, but the interpretation of the Bible. You're right. I mean, there are so many different translations and so many different languages that were translated from translation, sometimes from one language to another. Maybe that has been translated like 50 times. So,
yep, true. Okay, Rob.
All right. Science, in studying the geological records of the Earth itself, has determined the order in which the different species of living beings appeared, and this order matches the sequence indicated in the book of Genesis. The main difference is that Earth was created according to the laws and action of the forces of nature over millions of years. It did not spring miraculously from the hand of God in a few days, and it was not formed by the whim of divine will. Does this eclipse God's power or strength? Is the result of creative energy less sublime when it does not happen instantaneously? Of course not. And anyone who does not recognize the magnificence of the divine in this evolution of eternal laws is quite foolish. Science, far from diminishing the glory of divine power, shows us that action from a more sublime perspective is consistent with our notions of God's power and majesty, precisely because the work was carried out without disregard for the laws of nature. Modern science, in agreement with Moses, states that humanity appeared last in the creation of living beings. However, Moses places uh, the great flood as having occurred 1,654 years after the creation of the world, while geology shows that the great natural disasters occurred before the appearance of human beings. To date, the earliest strata contain no traces of humanity's presence, nor that of animals coexisting with it. Nothing conclusively establishes that this is impossible. Since many discoveries have already raised questions about this, it is possible that at any moment the material certainty of the anteriority of the human race may come to light, showing us that in this case, as well as others, the biblical text portrays an allegory. The question to be examined here is whether the great flood is the same suffered by Noah, or if the amount of time required for the formation of sedimentary layers and rock formations containing fossils does not allow this conclusion. If eventually traces of the existence of human beings before the great flood are discovered, it is evident then that either Adam was not the first man, or that his creation dates back closer to the dawn of time. There is no arguing against fact if supporting evidence is found. This fact would have to be acknowledged in the same manner that the movement of the earth and the 6 periods of creation were also acknowledged. All right. The existence of humans before the Great Flood is still hypothetical. However, the same argument cannot be made against the following considerations. In stating that human beings first appeared on the earth 4,000 years before Christ, and if the entire human race, with the exception of a single family, was wiped out 1,650 years later, that means that the populating of the earth dates back only to Noah's time, which is only 2,350 years before Christ. However, when the Israelites relocated to Egypt around 1800 BC, they found the country to be very densely populated, advanced civilization. History also shows that at the same time, India and various other countries were also populated and flourishing, not to mention other nations that claim to date back further in time. We must therefore presume that from 2400 BC to 1800 BC, that is 600 years, the descendants of a single individual were able to populate every known country, and even those that were unknown, which we have no reason to believe were devoid of inhabitants. We must further presume that humankind was able to evolve from being unaware to the highest degree of intellectual development in this brief stint of time, which completely contradicts anthropological theory. The diversity of the human race supports this opinion. While differences in climate and lifestyle clearly change the physical characteristics of humans, we know the extent to which these adaptations may occur as a result of these influences. Physiological examination conclusively proves that there are fundamental differences between the races that are too great to have been caused by climate differences alone. The crossing of races diminishes extreme characteristics by creating new varieties rather than reproducing the extremes. This process presupposes the existence of separate races. But how can this be explained if all of humanity can be traced back to a single ancestor in a short period of creation? How can we deduce, for example, that Noah's descendants in such a short time had transformed into Ethiopians? Such a metamorphosis would be as implausible as a wolf turning into a sheep, a beetle into an elephant, or a bird into a fish. No preconceived opinion or belief system can resist the evidence of facts. If we believe that humans existed before the most widely accepted time of creation, that there is a diversity of origins, that Adam lived 6,000 years ago populating a country that until then had been uninhabited, that Noah's flood was a local catastrophe mistaken for the great geological disaster, and if we make the proper allowances for the allegorical expressions that are characteristic of the Eastern style and common to the sacred texts of all religions, every difficulty disappears. This is why it is important to be careful in literally interpreting figurative statements of belief systems, which, like so many others, could someday enjoy a retraction from those who currently oppose them. Religion, rather than fearing the discoveries of science, should allow itself to be bolstered by it. This union is the only way that religion can arm itself against skeptics.
First of all, I gotta say thank you, Rob.
Yeah, no
So you
problem.
drink some water now.
I
I'm probably gonna
definitely
have
will.
to read this again, and on my own in Portuguese to try to understand more. But very interesting. It's not doubting the Bible, but it's basically just telling us that the importance of the literally interpreting the texts, right?
Mhm.
Human beings tend to believe a lot in what's written and not trying to do a little bit deep research, or like Kardec did a great job here, and I don't think anybody could have done a better job than he did.
And what is your comments, Rob? Since you read, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I think it makes sense to say, right? If you're thinking of things allegorically and also looking at kind of the logic of timelines, that it would, right, you probably should take the story of Adam and Eve as literally as being, okay, Adam was, right? Because the earlier answer said that Adam did live 4,000 years before the time of Christ, right? So it's saying, okay, right. So maybe in terms of the story, he's the first of a particular lineage, right? Which would make sense because, in the Old Testament, going into the New Testament, it has a big, it does a lot of focus on the lineage of like Jesus and where he comes from, right? So if the story of Adam is really just talking about, okay, the lineage of that group of people, right, versus all people only being, uh, coming about 6,000 years ago, then I think that kind of makes more sense to me.
Yeah, right. It's basically the whole thing that you just read for us. It's um, put against the religions. When I say religions, Bible is not about religion. Bible is a book wrote from people, and then religions use this book, to preach whatever they believe. But the thing is to put this information and science information and see what makes sense. And if you go through, the explanation, allegories, and those kind of things, we're going to understand they're talking about the same thing, right? But in the Bible, if you search about it, like the right translations, what are the meaning of the words, it says about Adam, but it says as well that at the same time as Adam was there in earth, there exist other cities, other places. So the interpretation about Adam being the only human being and just, the whole world just existed from them. I mean, whole other human beings, is the interpretation that other people gave, because in the in the book, in the Bible, we explain already about Adam and other people around, other cities, and more people around. So Luisa, unfortunately, is in Portuguese, but Luisa has a view about that as well. It's pretty nice. But yes, as Samantha said, Kardec just explained perfectly, and it's such huge consideration here. That's why it's almost 3 pages, the explanation of Kardec's. And it's basically that. I think like when he wrap it up here, this union is the only way that religion can arm itself against skepticism. I don't know, in my grandparents' time, back then, probably most of these things, those allegories and all those history that a human being have been saying since Jesus' time probably made sense for them. But now that we're evolved as human beings, technology, science, we're going to start question more. Those things doesn't make sense anymore, you know? And when you go through the real explanation of those things, you see that they're already there since the beginning of the Bible. It's already there. But people just take and just do whatever they want. Has one part of the Bible that it well, not anymore, but talking about it, reincarnation. Because the Jewish people, they believe in reincarnation, at least the old ones. And most of people, they don't know that. And the Jewish culture, they were the ones, the Hebrews, there was the one that wrote the Bible. And they were talking about reincarnation. But at some point in history, I don't remember the name of the guy right now, but it's somebody like in Roman, the old Roman, has a wife. And this is a history, okay, that I'm talking about. A side of spiritism that is in history, in books in general about a history of the Bible, talking about a reincarnation. And his wife, she was a prostitute before he got married. And she made a lot of things. She dated a lot of guys that was married. She destroyed a lot of marriages and a lot of families. And when she ended up discovering that reincarnation exists, she got afraid. And she asked the current husband, was a very powerful man in Roman, to take this out of the Bible. And that's why we don't have reincarnation in the Bible. If you look, Google it, you're going to see the names of the people. When you say reincarnation Bible, when they took it off, what is the explanation for this? You guys are going to see what happens. So that's why most of the religions don't believe in reincarnation, because the word is not in the Bible. And most of them say, whatever is in the Bible, you believe and you follow. There is one of the problem as well. So it's so many things that there's in the Bible that you have to really understand the meaning, and some others that they're just take it off. And we still learn, but at least for those that already believe in spirits, I'm not mean spiritism, I mean spirits, because don't need to be a spiritist to believe in spirits. For those people who already believe or have this knowledge, or they are medium, at least they already have those answers from them, like the spirits of the book of spirits. Somebody else would like to talk some. Oh, hey, Jim. Hello. Okay.
I'm muted. Hold on.
No, I did it. I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, you know, this writing has a lot to think about. I believe it was Emperor Constantine who he and his people decided to wipe out the whole reincarnation thing in Christianity, because at one time they did accept that. And he did a lot of revision for various reasons of things. But you know, it's interesting because even with science, there's a lot of unanswered things, like with like evolution, for example. I don't believe, maybe Rob would know, they never found the missing link. Like they trace back and to say this was primitive man, ancestor man, throughout the ages, how they developed physically, their brain capacity. But the link right before modern man they've never found. So who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, they probably will never find.
Probably never will.
Never will, probably.
So there's so many unanswered questions. And I never had a problem with evolution either. I mean, you know, you had people who were creationists and evolutionists, and I could never understand the conflict. I mean, God is the force that worked in all these ways. What's the big deal?
Yeah, as I was talking to Mark, probably in the chapter 5 or 6, we are going to talk more about that. And yes, as physically sane, and in order to attend the necessity of the spirits morally and technology meaning, we need to evolve in many ways. And from the atom to the superior angel, the nature don't jump. Is a process. Is a process. It's a very long process. And it's so many books that talk about this in a sense, but like this, the Spirit's book is going to talk this as well, because Kardec's for sure asked about it. Yes, the evolution. Let's say that a lot of science already discovered 5% or less than that about evolution, but it's much more that. And the spirits already brought to us this, not the explanation, the whole explanation, because even then they don't have it, but the basic of the explanation of the evolution. And we have, as a spirits, when we incarnated, we have to go through all the process from, let's say, the small animals in the world, whatever you can call this, to a human beings. But to be incarnated is just as human beings. But the spirits can be in the earth without incarnating. And you're going to learn this in the future. That's a very nice thing to learn. But yes, I think that's it for today. And since before I finish, anybody else would like to say anything else? No.
It takes too long. Growth takes too long. We need to somehow like speed all this up. I don't know how, but
it's a long book. It's like, let's see.
No, not the book. I'm talking about our development as human beings. And
but thinking about it, if you're thinking about eternity, take our time.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I guess you got there. But...
The eternity, why want to rush it up things? I mean, morally, I understand you. Sometimes I have this feeling, yes, we could be more evolved on the moral side. And
yeah.
We really could, actually. I'm not kidding. Not something like, no, you can take more time. No, it's up to us. It's totally up to us to be more evolved on moral or not, or just being like this as we were. I mean, when being like this, I mean like everybody in the world as incarnating. Most of us, actually, at least. But I agree, because sometimes you just see things out there that you started questioning things and say, why? Time to evolve, people. I agree. Yeah, so since I know Jim is, I'm gonna tell everybody, Jim. Since I know Jim is leaving us, I mean, physically safe, but is he gonna be here, probably join us on the internet every time that you have a meeting? I'm gonna ask you, Jim, if you can do the final pray.
Of course.
Hey, Jimmy, where are you going, Jim?
Montana.
Wow.
I have cousins there.
Aww.
And for a variety of reasons, financial and other reasons, I didn't feel that Vegas was an appropriate long-term home for me.
Yeah, I agree with that for me too.
So, but I'll be joining people online. There's an hour difference there. It's an hour later than here. So I plan on coming online and
You better, Tim. You better.
Yeah,
and
we'll be
emailing,
waiting for you.
communicate with emailing. That's fine. I'm
Please.
friendly. I'm on Facebook too.
Oh,
I'm
cool. I'm gonna look you on Facebook.
I'm friendly. So yeah, and I wanted to go to Pennsylvania more than anything of all places back where I lived, but I hadn't gotten a satisfactory job offer there. But that's like my real home. But anyway, we'll see.
I'm sorry to cut you.
What?
I'm sorry to cut you. I was just wondering. I knew that you're gonna move at any point, but like not right now. But well, as long as you enjoy us all the time, that will be okay.
Okay. Yeah, you people are one of the best things that happened to me in Las Vegas.
Oh, you're so cute. We love you.
It
We
was a
love every
very
one of us.
special, unique situation under wonderful circumstances. So it's been very good. And then I'll lead to the prayer, I guess, and then you can chit chat.
Please.
Okay. Okay. I wish to give thanks with much gratitude that the opportunity presented itself for us to meet, to study, hopefully to evolve at least a little. And we ask that our spirit friends and guides will continue to guide us and help us in our lives, inspire our hearts, grant us wisdom so we can progress in ways of love. And with much thanks, so be it.
So be it. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Lolo, Samantha, Mark, and Jill.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll miss you. Bye.
Oh, yeah.
You better come every Tuesday at least. Every Tuesday, every other Tuesday, actually.
And I'll send emails and pictures and everything.
Great. We will miss you for sure. But are you going to visit you in Montana, waiting for us?
Yeah, we lots of room.
All right.
And if you ever need anything or whatever, you just give me a call.
For sure. We will.
All right.
So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. See you next Tuesday.
Have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Stop recording.